Welcome back to History Orbit, where the gentle rustle of royal tapestries and the distant crash of ocean waves carry us into tales so soothing they guide you to a peaceful slumber. Imagine yourself in a quiet chamber, the air soft with the scent of lavender and sea salt. As we wander through the courts of kings and the seas of a pirate queen, there's scandals and dreams whispering through the ages. Before we drift into these stories, please give this video a like if it eases your night. Subscribe to join our tranquil journeys, and drop a comment sharing where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now settle into the stillness, let the world fade, and let's begin in the lively halls of Bohemia, where Wenceslaus the Wild, known to history as Wenceslaus of Bohemia, reigned in the late 14th century, a king whose love for revelry turned his court into a whirlwind of chaos and charm. Picture a grand castle in Prague, its stone walls echoing with the clatter of tankards, the air thick with the aroma of roasted game and spilled ale. It's the 1390s, and Wenceslaus, a king more at home in a tavern than a throne room, presides over a court that feels like a never-ending feast. Imagine him, his beard flecked with foam, his laughter booming as he raises a goblet, his crown often forgotten on a table cluttered with empty pitchers. The hall is alive with music, lutes and drums competing with shouts of drunken nobles, their silks stained with wine, their dignity left at the door. Chroniclers of the time, their quills scratching in the dim light of candlelit scriptoriums, wrote of a ruler whose reign was a tapestry of merriment and misrule, a man whose love for pleasure made his kingdom both a stage and a scandal. Settle deeper into your blankets, let the raucous laughter of Bohemia carry you, as we drift into the wild, wayward world of Wenceslaus the Wild, a king whose heart beat to the rhythm of a feast. Wenceslaus, crowned in 1378 at the age of 17, inherited a Bohemia rich with culture, but fraught with tension. His Holy Roman Empire title, a crown of prestige that sat uneasily on his head. Picture him in his early years, a young man with a broad smile, his eyes bright with mischief, riding through Prague's cobbled streets, his cloak billowing as crowds cheer a king they hope will bring stability. But Wenceslaus had little taste for governance, his heart drawn to the clink of tankards, the strum of a minstrel's lute, and the roar of a crowd deep in revelry. Imagine his court, a sprawling hall where day burrs into night, the air heavy with the scent of smoked meats and burning wax, tables groaning under platters of boar and bread. Wenceslaus was no warrior king, nor a schemer like his father, Charles IV. He was a reveler, a man who turned his palace into a tavern, his council into a drinking party. The chroniclers, their pages stained with ink and disapproval, noted that Wenceslaus preferred the company of minstrels and merchants to that of his advisors, his throne often empty while he caroused in the streets. Picture him stumbling through Prague at midnight, his royal robes askew, his voice slurring as he sings with tavern-goers, their laughter echoing off the stone walls. His court was a spectacle, nobles arriving to discuss taxes or treaties only to find their king wrestling with a jester or challenging a knight to a drinking contest. Imagine a council meeting, the air thick with the smell of parchment and tension, as Wenceslaus, red-faced from ale, interrupts a debate to propose a toast, his advisors exchanging weary glances. His love for revelry was not just a quirk, it was a scandal, his behavior a slap to the dignity of a crown that demanded respect. The nobles, accustomed to protocol, whispered of a king who danced naked through his castle, a tale perhaps exaggerated but rooted in truth, for Wenceslaus was known to shed his robes in moments of drunken glee. Picture the scene, a moonlit hall, the torches flickering as Wenceslaus, stripped to his tunic, spins with a serving maid, the court torn between laughter and horror. His wife, Joanna of Bavaria, bore the brunt of his antics, her patience tested by a husband who preferred the company of tavern wenches to her own. Imagine her dark hair pinned beneath a jeweled headdress, standing at the edge of a feast, her eyes sharp as she watches Wenceslaus flirt with a merchant's daughter, her dignity a shield against the court's pity. Joanna was no mere ornament, she managed the palace's affairs, her voice steady as she issued orders to servants while her husband slept off his excesses. The chroniclers, careful not to offend, wrote of Joanna's grace, but their words hinted at a queen who ruled a court her king neglected. Wenceslaus's scandals were not just personal, they were political. His drunken decrees and erratic decisions fraying the ties that held Bohemia together. Picture a noble, his face stern, presenting a petition for land rights, only to be met with Wenceslaus's laughter, his response a slurred promise to settle it over dice. The court, once a center of culture, became a circus, its halls filled with jugglers, poets, and hangers-on who flocked to Wenceslaus's generosity. Imagine a banquet, the air alive with the scent of spiced wine and roasted chestnuts, where Wenceslaus tosses gold coins to a minstrel, his treasury draining as fast as his tankard. His advisors, desperate to maintain order, struggled to steer a king who preferred the chaos of a feast to the calm of a council. The chroniclers tell of one night when Wenceslaus, deep in his cups, declared a holiday for all of Prague, the streets erupting in revelry. The churches empty as the city joined their king's madness. Picture the scene, cobblestone streets lit by torches, the air ringing with laughter and song. As Wenceslaus leads a procession, his crown tilted, his voice hoarse from shouting toasts. His reign was a paradox, a kingdom thriving on its own despite a king who ruled more by whim than wisdom. The Holy Roman Empire, a patchwork of rivalries, demanded a strong hand. But Wenceslaus's was often wrapped around a goblet. Imagine the electors, their robes heavy with fur, meeting in a distant city, their voices low as they debate deposing a king who embarrassed his title. In 1400, they did just that, stripping Wenceslaus of his imperial crown. Though he clung to Bohemia's throne, his defiance fueled by pride or perhaps another jug of ale. Picture him hearing the news, his laughter bitter, his tankard raised in a mock salute to his lost title, his court silent but for the crackle of the hearth, his scandals multiplied, tales of drunken brawls, of lovers taken and discarded, of promises made and broken in the haze of a feast. Imagine a noble woman, her cheeks flushed, dancing with the king, knowing her favor would last only until the next revel. Wenceslaus's court was a revolving door of faces, his affections as fleeting as the music that filled his halls. The chroniclers, their pages heavy with judgment, wrote of a king who could have been great but chose to be merry, his reign a cautionary tale of excess. His brother, Sigismund, watched from Hungary, his ambition sharpening as Wenceslaus stumbled. Picture Sigismund, his eyes cold, his crown gleaming, plotting to claim influence over a Bohemia weakened by its king's folly. Wenceslaus's nobles grew restless, their loyalty tested by a king who taxed them to fund his feasts, who ignored their pleas for justice in favor of another round of wine. Imagine a council chamber, the air thick with the scent of ink and frustration, as a lord begs for aid against bandits, only to be met with Wenceslaus's slurred promise to handle it tomorrow. Tomorrow rarely came, the king's days lost in a blur of revelry, his nights in the arms of whoever caught his eye. The court, once a beacon of art and learning, became a shadow of itself, its grandeur tarnished by a king who loved the bottle more than the scepter. Picture a winter night, the castle blanketed in snow, the halls warm with firelight, but cold with discontent as Wenceslaus toasts his courtiers, unaware of the plots forming in their whispers. His reign dragged on, a slow decline marked by moments of charm, for Wenceslaus could be generous, his laughter infectious, his court alive with a chaotic joy that drew some to his side. Imagine a feast, the tables laden with pheasant and plums, where Wenceslaus, for a moment, is the king they hoped for, his stories captivating, his smile warm. But the moment passes, the ale flows, and the court slips back into chaos. The chroniclers, their quills weary, wrote of a king who ruled by heart, not head, his scandals a stain on a crown that deserved better. Wenceslaus's end came quietly, his health eroded by years of excess, his throne passing to Sigismund in 1419, though some say he lingered, a shadow king in a castle that no longer listened. Picture his final days, a darkened chamber, the air heavy with the smell of herbs and wax, his laughter gone, his tankard empty, as he fades into a history that remembers him more for his revels than his rule. The court of Prague sighed, perhaps in relief as a new king took the reins, the echoes of Wenceslaus's feasts fading into memory. His legacy was a Bohemia vibrant but unsteady, a kingdom that danced to his tune but stumbled in his wake. The chroniclers closed their books on Wenceslaus the Wild, their words a mix of fondness and frustration, a king whose love for life was both his charm and his curse. As the laughter of Prague's hall softens the scent of ale and firelight, fading into the cool night air, we turn from this raucous king to another, one whose heart broke not just his own life but a kingdom in the grand courts of England, where love and ambition clashed with the weight of a crown. As the raucous laughter of Wenceslaus's Bohemian court fades, the scent of ale, and the clatter of tankards softening into the quiet of a Prague night, we cross the sea to the grand halls of England, where a king's heart bold and unyielding reshaped a kingdom with love and loss. Picture a magnificent palace in London, its stone walls draped with rich tapestries, the air heavy with the aroma of polished oak and melting wax from chandeliers aglow with 100 candles. It's the early 16th century, and Henry the Heartbreaker, known to history as Henry VIII, reigns from 1509 to 1547. A king whose 6 marriages and relentless pursuit of love turned his court into a stage of passion, betrayal and severed ties. Imagine him striding through a banquet hall, his broad shoulders filling a velvet doublet, his laughter booming, his eyes sharp with desire, yet his crown a constant reminder of the power he wielded and the heirs he craved. The court hums with the clink of goblets, the rustle of silken gowns, and the cautious whispers of nobles, who know their king's heart could shift as swiftly as his temper. Chroniclers of the time, their quills scratching in the dim light of royal scriptoriums, wrote of a ruler whose reign was a tapestry of splendor, and scandal a man whose quest for love broke hearts' heads and even a church. Settle deeper into your blankets. Let the soft glow of Tudor England guide you as we drift into the dramatic, turbulent world of Henry the Heartbreaker, a king whose love reshaped a nation. Henry ascended the throne at 17, a young giant with a scholar's mind and a warrior's build, his coronation a blaze of hope for a kingdom weary of civil wars. Picture him in Westminster Abbey, the air thick with incense, his golden crown gleaming as he vows to lead England into a new age, his athletic frame and quick wit promising a reign of glory. The court buzzed with excitement, nobles in fur-lined robes toasting a king who could wrestle, compose music and debate theology with the best minds of Europe. Imagine him in those early years, riding through London, his horses' hooves clattering on cobblestones, his smile dazzling crowds who saw in him a Renaissance prince. His first marriage to Catherine of Aragon, a Spanish princess, was a diplomatic triumph, her piety and grace a perfect match for a king eager to prove his worth. Picture their wedding, the cathedral filled with the scent of roses and myrrh, Catherine's dark hair framed by a jeweled veil, her hand steady in Henry's as they vowed unity. But Henry's heart was restless, his desire for a male-era fire that grew with each passing year. Imagine the court, years later, its halls alive with music and laughter, yet shadowed by whispers of Catherine's miscarriages, her inability to produce a son gnawing at Henry's pride. The chroniclers, their pages careful but candid, noted the king's growing impatience, his eyes wandering to the ladies of the court, his heart seeking not just love but a legacy. Enter Anne Boleyn, a dark-eyed beauty whose wit and charm ensnared Henry like a melody he couldn't forget. Picture her silken gown catching the torchlight, her laughter sharp as she dances at a banquet, her refusal to be a mere mistress setting her apart. Henry, captivated, showered her with gifts, letters and promises, his obsession a scandal that rippled through the court. Imagine Catherine, now aging, her prayers fervent in a private chapel, while Henry pens love notes to Anne, his words dripping with devotion, his crown no barrier to his desire. The court, accustomed to royal flirtations, watched in stunned silence as Henry sought to annul his marriage to Catherine, a move that defied the Pope and shook Christendom. Picture the council chambers, the air heavy with the smell of ink and tension as Henry's advisors, Thomas Wolsey among them, scrambled to navigate a king whose heart outweighed his reason. The chroniclers, their quills trembling, wrote of a king who would break with Rome, creating the Church of England to secure his divorce, a seismic shift born of love and ambition. Imagine the moment, a royal proclamation read in London squares, the crowd murmuring as Henry declares himself head of the church, his marriage to Catherine null, his union with Anne sealed in 1533. Picture Anne, now queen, her coronation a spectacle of gold and velvet, her smile triumphant yet fragile, for the court's loyalty was as fleeting as the king's favour, and bore Henry a daughter, Elizabeth, but no son, and the whispers grew louder, nobles and servants alike sensing the king's restless heart. Imagine Henry pacing his chambers, the air thick with the scent of lavender and wax, his joy at Elizabeth's birth overshadowed by his hunger for a male heir. Anne's wit, once her strength, became a liability, her sharp tongue clashing with Henry's pride, her flirtations with courtiers fueling rumours of infidelity. Picture the court, its halls now tense as Henry's eyes turn to Jane Seymour, a quiet, pale lady-in-waiting whose demure charm contrasted with Anne's fire. The chroniclers, their pages heavy with foreboding, recorded the swift fall of Anne, accused of adultery and treason in 1536, her trial a formality, her fate sealed by a king who loved fiercely but discarded quickly. Imagine her standing in the Tower of London, her dark eyes steady, her voice calm as she faces the scaffold, her neck meeting the executioner's sword, the air still but for the gasp of onlookers. Henry, unmoved, married Jane days later, the court's shock masked by forced smiles, the scent of roses at the wedding tainted by the memory of blood. Picture Jane, her blonde hair pinned beneath a modest crown, her presence a balm to Henry's wounded pride, her pregnancy in 1537 a spark of hope. She bore him Edward, the long-awaited son, but died days later, her body weakened by childbirth. Her death a blow that left Henry weeping, his court draped in black. Imagine him kneeling by her bedside, the air heavy with the smell of herbs and grief, his tears genuine but his heart already restless. The chroniclers noted Jane as the wife Henry loved most, perhaps because her death froze her in perfection, her memory untouched by his fickle desires. Henry's heart did not rest. His next marriage to Anne of Cleves in 1540 was a political match gone awry, his distaste for her evident from their first meeting. Picture him, his face sour, meeting Anne in a draughty hall, her German accent and plain features clashing with his expectations. The marriage annulled within months, the court whispering of a king who could not be satisfied. Catherine Howard came next, a young, vivacious cousin of Anne Boleyn, her beauty a spark that reignited Henry's youth. Imagine her dancing at a banquet, her laughter bright, her eyes unaware of the danger in catching a king's attention. The court, weary of Henry's whims, watched as Catherine's flirtations with courtiers, perhaps innocent, perhaps not, led to her downfall. Picture her in 1542, her hands trembling as she faces the same scaffold as Anne, her youth no shield against Henry's wrath, the air cold as the executioner's blade falls. The chroniclers, their pages stained with ink and sorrow, wrote of a king whose love was a storm, each wife a ship dashed against his rocky heart. Catherine Parr, his final wife, survived, her wit and wisdom a match for Henry's aging temper. Imagine her voice steady, reading to Henry in a firelit chamber, her care soothing a king grown heavy with illness and regret. The court, now subdued, watched as Henry's health faded, his once mighty frame swollen, his laughter rare, his reign a legacy of reform and ruin. Picture his final years, the air thick with the smell of medicine and wax, as Henry, surrounded by advisers like Thomas Cromwell, who met his own end on the scaffold, ruled a kingdom reshaped by his will. The Church of England stood firm, but its birth was stained with the blood of wives and rivals, its altars built on the wreckage of Henry's heart. Imagine the court, its halls quieter now, the tapestries faded, the music softer, as nobles navigate a king whose temper could still flare, his love a memory that haunted every corner. The chroniclers, their quills slowing, wrote of a king who broke a church to chase a son, who loved 6 women but lost himself in the pursuit. Henry's children, Mary, Elizabeth and Edward, carried his legacy, their reigns shaped by the scars of his choices. Picture his death in 1547, a darkened chamber in surmise, the air heavy with the scent of sickness, his crown set aside. his breath fading as the court holds its breath. The chroniclers closed their books on Henry the Heartbreaker, their words a mix of awe and judgment. A king whose love was as mighty as his wrath, whose heart broke not just his wives but a kingdom's faith. His legacy lingered in England's churches, its laws, its whispered tales of a king who loved too fiercely, whose marriages were a saga of passion and pain. As the candles of Tudor England flicker out, the scent of oak and wax softening into the cool night air, we turn from this tempestuous king to another, one whose charm lit up the courts of France, where art and amour danced in a Renaissance glow. As the candles of Henry the Heartbreaker's Tudor court flicker out, the scent of oak and wax dissolving into the quiet of an English night, we cross the channel to the vibrant courts of France, where a king's charm and flair for beauty turned his reign into a dazzling spectacle of art and amour. Picture a grand chateau along the Loire, its spires piercing a twilight sky, the air rich with the fragrance of blooming gardens and polished marble warmed by torchlight. It's the early 16th century, and Francis the Charmer, known to history as Francis I, reigns from 1515 to 1547. A king whose love for women, art and rivalry shaped a Renaissance France that glowed like a painting come to life. Imagine him striding through a gilded hall, his velvet cape swirling, his laughter light but his eyes sharp with ambition. A monarch who saw his court as a stage for both diplomacy and desire. The hall hums with the strum of lutes, the clink of crystal goblets, and the soft rustle of silken gowns as courtiers and ladies vie for the king's glance, knowing his favor could elevate or ruin. Chroniclers of the time, their quills dancing in the glow of candlelight, wrote of a ruler whose reign was a tapestry of splendor and scandal, a man whose charm was as potent as his power, his heart a canvas painted with fleeting loves. Settle deeper into your blankets. Let the golden glow of Renaissance France guide you as we drift into the elegant, enchanting world of Francis the Charmer, a king whose allure reshaped a nation. Francis ascended the throne at 20, a tall, charismatic prince with a poet's soul and a warrior's heart. His coronation a celebration of a France eager for renewal. Picture him in the Cathedral of Reims, the air thick with incense and a chant of bishops, his crown gleaming as he vows to lead his kingdom into a new age of glory. The court buzzed with anticipation, nobles in embroidered doublets toasting a king who could joust with knights, debate with scholars, and charm with a smile that melted hearts. Imagine him riding through Paris, his horse adorned with silver, his cape catching the breeze. The crowds cheering a monarch who seemed born for the Renaissance, his love for art and beauty rivaled only by his rivalry with Henry VIII of England. Francis's court was a beacon of culture, his chateau at Fontainebleau and Chambord transformed into palaces of marble and frescoes, their halls filled with the works of Leonardo da Vinci, whom Francis lured to France. Picture the king, his eyes bright, walking with Leonardo through a garden, the air sweet with the scent of roses, discussing paintings and inventions as if they were old friends. The chroniclers, their pages glowing with admiration, called Francis a patron of the arts, his court a haven for poets, painters, and musicians, its air alive with the clatter of chisels and the hum of verse. But Francis's heart was not only with art, it was with women, his charm a magnet that drew ladies like moths to a flame. Imagine a grand ball, the chateau's hall aglow with chandeliers, the floor a whirl of silk and velvet as Francis dances, his hand guiding a noble woman, her laughter mingling with the music. His queen, Claude of France, was a dutiful wife, her gentle presence a backdrop to Francis's flamboyance, her pregnancies frequent, but her influence faint. Picture Claude, her gown modest, standing at the edge of the hall, her smile polite as she watches Francis twirl with a mistress, her heart accustomed to sharing her king. The chroniclers, careful with their words, noted that Francis's court was a garden of beauty, its ladies the flowers he plucked with ease, their names whispered in corridors but rarely recorded. One such lady, Francoise de Foy, held his heart for years, her elegance and wit a match for the king's own. Imagine her dark eyes sparkling, her gown catching the torchlight as she dines with Francis, their conversation a dance of words, the court watching with a mix of envy and awe. Francoise was no mere dalliance, She was a fixture, her influence subtle but undeniable. Her presence a scandal that the queen bore with quiet grace. Picture the court, its air thick with the scent of perfume and wine. As Francois whispers to Francis, her advice shaping his decisions, her charm softening his temper. But Francis's heart was as fleeting as his dances, and when in deeper celu, a younger beauty caught his eye, Frank was faded into the shadows. Her departure a quiet wound in a court accustomed to change. Imagine Anne, her golden hair pinned with pearls, her laughter bright as she walks with Francis. Her youth a spark that reignited his own. The chroniclers, their quills dipping into ink, wrote of a king whose love was a carousel. Each mistress a turn that dazzled but never lasted. Francis's scandals were not just romantic, they were political. His charm a tool that shaped alliances and rivalries. Picture his rivalry with Henry VIII, the two kings meeting at the Field of the Cloth of Gold in 1520, a spectacle of tents woven with gold thread, the air heavy with the smell of roasted oxen and diplomacy. Imagine Francis, his smile confident, wrestling Henry in a friendly match, only to win and spark the English king's ire. Their rivalry a dance as intricate as any courtly ball. The chroniclers noted the event with awe, its extravagance a testament to Francis's flair, but also his need to outshine his rival, his charm a weapon as sharp as his sword. Back in France, his court was a stage for intrigue, his mistresses not just lovers but players in a game of power. Picture a council chamber, the air rich with the scent of parchment and wax as Francis listens to his advisors, and deeper celu at his side, her whispers guiding his decisions on war or peace. The nobles, their loyalty tested, watched as Francis's heart shaped his policies, his favor a prize that could elevate a family or doom it. Imagine a banquet, the tables laden with pheasant and plums where Francis toasts a new alliance. His mistress smiling beside him, the court murmuring of her influence, their goblets raised but their eyes wary. Francis's love for beauty extended beyond women to the arts, his patronage transforming France into a Renaissance jewel. Picture the chateau of Fontainebleau, its walls adorned with frescoes, the air alive with the sound of hammers as artists carved beauty from stone. Leonardo da Vinci, his beard white, his hands frail, found a home in Francis's court. His final years spent sketching under the king's patronage. Imagine Francis, his voice soft, sitting with Leonardo by a fire, the air warm with the scent of wood smoke, discussing the Mona Lisa as if it were a shared secret. The chroniclers, their pages glowing with praise, called Francis a king of culture, his court a canvas where art and power intertwined. But his charm, for all its brilliance, could not shield France from war. His rivalry with the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V draining his treasury. Picture the fields of Italy, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder and blood. As Francis's armies clash with imperial forces, his ambition for Milan a costly dream. The chroniclers, their quills heavy with concern, wrote of battles lost, of prisoners taken, of a king whose charm could not win every war. Francis himself was captured in 1525 at Pavia, his imprisonment a scandal that shook France, his return a triumph that restored his court's faith. Imagine him riding back to Paris, his cape dusty but his smile undimmed, the crowds cheering a king who turned defeat into defiance. His court resumed its splendor, the halls filled with music, the air rich with the scent of lavender and wine as Francis danced within deeper celu. His heart as resilient as his ambition. The chroniclers noted his later years, his health fading, his once robust frame weakened by illness, yet his charm enduring. Picture him, older now, his hair graying, walking through Fontainebleau, his steps slow but his eyes still bright, his mistresses and artists still orbiting like stars. His queen, Claude, died young, her children carrying Francis's legacy, their names etched in a France reshaped by their father's vision. Imagine his final days a quiet chamber, the air heavy with the smell of herbs, and wax his crown set aside, his voice soft as he speaks of art, and love his court mourning a king who lived as vividly as his paintings. The chroniclers closed their books on Francis the Charmer, their words a mix of admiration and caution, a king whose heart was a beacon, whose scandals were as bright as his legacy. His reign left France richer in art, but poorer in gold, Its court's a gallery of beauty and intrigue. As the golden light of Fontainebleau fades, the scent of roses and marble softening into the cool night air, we turn from this charming king to another one whose obsession burned in the sunlit courts of Castile, where love and loyalty clashed with a deadly fervor. As the golden light of Francis the Charmer's Renaissance court fades, the scent of roses and marble softening into the quiet of a French night, we sail across the seas to the sunlit plains of Castile, where a king's obsession with love burned brighter than his crown, casting shadows of scandal and sorrow. Picture a grand palace in Toledo, its courtyards fragrant with the bloom of orange trees, the air warm with the glow of a Spanish summer in the early 14th century. Here, from 1311 to 1350, Alfonso the Obsessed, known to history as Alfonso the 11th, ruled with a heart consumed by devotion, his love for a single woman turning his court into a stage of passion and peril. Imagine him seated on a carved throne, his dark hair catching the flicker of torchlight, his eyes fixed not on maps or decrees, but on a lady whose presence outshone the jewels of his crown. The hall hums with the clatter of silver plates, the soft strum of a guitar, and the cautious whispers of nobles who know their king's heart could sway a kingdom. Chroniclers of the time, their quills scratching in the dim glow of candlelit chambers, wrote of a ruler whose reign was a tapestry of conquest and controversy, a man whose love was both his muse and his undoing. Settle deeper into your blankets, let the warm breeze of Castile guide you, as we drift into the fervent, fatal world of Alfonso the Obsessed, a king whose heart wrote a legacy in love and loss. Alfonso ascended the throne at the tender age of 1, a boy king under the shadow of regents, his crown a symbol of potential in a Castile torn by noble rivalries. Picture him in his youth, a solemn child in a velvet robe, his small hands clutching a scepter, his guardians guiding a kingdom through turbulent years. By his teens, Alfonso emerged as a warrior, his frame strong, his resolve sharper, his ambition to unite Castile a fire that burned within. Imagine him riding across the plains, his armor gleaming, his banner snapping in the wind, the air thick with the scent of dust and leather as he leads campaigns against rebellious lords and Moorish foes. The court buzzed with hope, nobles in embroidered cloaks toasting a king who could restore order. His victories at the Battle of Teba in 1330 a testament to his skill. But Alfonso's heart was not with his conquests alone, it was captured by Leonor de Guzman, a noblewoman whose beauty and spirit ensnared him like a melody that lingered long after the music stopped. Picture Leonor, her dark eyes sparkling, her gown flowing like a river of silk, standing in a garden where the air is heavy with the scent of jasmine and myrrh. Alfonso's love for her was not a fleeting fancy, it was an obsession, a flame that consumed his thoughts and reshaped his court. His official wife, Maria of Portugal, arrived in 1328, a princess whose marriage sealed an alliance, her dowry a bridge between kingdoms. Imagine their wedding, the cathedral filled with the aroma of roses and incense, Maria's veil shimmering as she takes Alfonso's hand, her smile hopeful but her heart unaware of the shadow Leonor would cast. The chroniclers, their pages careful but candid, noted that Alfonso's devotion to Leonor overshadowed his marriage, his queen relegated to a role of duty while his mistress held his heart. Picture Maria, her face composed, standing in a hall where Alfonso dines with Leonor, their laughter a private song that drowns out the court's music. Alfonso's obsession with Leonor was a scandal that echoed through Castile, his court a stage where love and politics collided. Imagine a banquet, the tables laden with roasted lamb and figs, the air alive with the strum of lutes, as Alfonso raises a goblet to Leonor, her presence at his side a silent decree of her power. The nobles, their loyalty tested, watched with unease, their whispers sharp as they noted Leonor's influence, her voice guiding Alfonso's decisions. Her children by him 10 in all rising in prominence over Maria's legitimate heirs. Picture Leonor, her smile serene, holding court in her own chambers, her children playing at her feet, their names etched in Alfonso's heart as potential successors. The chroniclers, their quills dipping into ink, wrote of a king who treated his mistress as a queen, his love a defiance of custom that rattled his allies. Maria, though sidelined, bore Alfonso 2 sons, her dignity as shield against the court's pity, her prayers fervent in a chapel where the air smells of wax and sorrow. Imagine her, kneeling before an altar, her gown heavy with embroidery, her heart heavy with neglect, as she pleads for her son's future in a kingdom swayed by another woman. Alfonso's love for Leonor was not just personal, it was political, his favor elevating her family, the Guzmans to power, their estates growing as rivals fumed. Picture a council chamber, the air thick with the scent of parchment and tension. As nobles argue over land grants, their voices sharp as they glance at Leonor's kin, now lords in their own right. The court, once united under Alfonso's early victories, fractured under his obsession. Nobles whispering of a king who ruled with his heart, not his head. Imagine a tournament, the air alive with the smell of horses and polished steel, where Alfonso cheers not for his knights but for Leonor's brothers, their banners flying higher than the queen's. The chroniclers, their pages heavy with concern, noted the growing unrest. Lords plotting in shadowed corners, their loyalty strained by a king who seemed to love one woman above his crown. Alfonso's reign was not without glory, his campaigns against the more strengthened Costile. His laws, the Ordinamiento di Alcala, brought order to a chaotic land. Picture him signing decrees, his hands steady, the air warm with the scent of ink and leather. As he builds a legacy of justice, his victories at Gibraltar a testament to his skill. But his heart remained with Leonor, his time spent in her company, their moments stolen in quiet gardens or firelit chambers. Imagine them walking hand in hand, the air sweet with the scent of orange blossoms. Alfonso's voice soft as he speaks of a future where their children rule. The court, though dazzled by his conquests, grew weary of his obsession, their whispers turning to plots as Maria's allies rallied for her sons. Picture a noble, his face stern, petitioning Alfonso for justice, only to be met with a distracted smile, the king's thoughts with Leonor, not the kingdom. The chroniclers, their quills slowing, wrote of a king whose love was a double-edged sword, cutting through alliances as swiftly as it bound him to Leonor. His obsession bore fruit, Leonor's sons, especially Henry of Trastamara, rising in prominence, their ambition a spark that would later ignite rebellion. Imagine Henry, a boy with his mother's eyes, watching Alfonso from the edges of the court, his heart already dreaming of a throne. Alfonso's reign, though marked by triumphs, was shadowed by this scandal. His love for Leonor a flame that warmed his heart, but burned his kingdom. Picture a feast, the tables groaning with pomegranates and wine where Alfonso toasts Leonor, oblivious to the nobles' cold stares, their hands tightening on their goblets. The court, once a place of unity, became a chessboard, Maria's supporters plotting against Leonor's, their whispers a tide that threatened to drown Alfonso's rule. Imagine a late-night council, the air heavy with the smell of wax and fear, as lords debate in hushed tones, their loyalty fraying as Alfonso's obsession deepens. The chroniclers, their pages stained with ink, wrote of a king who could conquer armies, but not his own heart. His love for Leonor a scandal that outshone his crown. Alfonso's end came suddenly, not in battle or betrayal, but in 1350, when the Black Death swept through Castile, its shadow claiming the king at 38. Picture his final days, a darkened tent on a campaign, the air thick with the smell of herbs and sickness, his crown set aside, his thoughts with Leonor as he fades. The chroniclers, their quills trembling, noted his death with a mix of sorrow and relief. A king whose victories were mighty, but whose heart was mightier. Leonor's fate was grim, her power crumbling without Alfonso's protection, her enemies seizing her. Her end a quiet tragedy in a court that no longer needed her. Imagine her, alone in a castle, the air cold, her children scattered, her memory tied to a king who loved her too fiercely. Maria, the widowed queen, saw her son inherit, but the seeds of Alfonso's obsession bore bitter fruit. Henry of Trastamara later rising against his half-brother in a war that tore Castile apart. Picture the court, now silent, the orange blossoms falling unnoticed. The halls once alive with Alfonso's laughter now echoing with the weight of his choices. The chroniclers closed their books on Alfonso the Obsessed. Their words a mix of admiration and caution, a king whose love was a fire that warmed his life but scorched his legacy. His reign left Castile stronger in law but weaker in unity. Its courts a testament to a man who loved one woman above all else. As the warm breeze of Toledo fades, the scent of jasmine softening into the cool night air, we turn from this obsessed king to a queen whose power rose not from a throne, but from the waves, a pirate whose command of the seas shook an empire. As the warm breeze of Alfonso, the obsessed Castilian court fades, the scent of jasmine, and the soft strum of guitars dissolving into the quiet of a Spanish night, we sail far across the world, to the restless waters of the South China Sea, where a woman's command turned the waves into her kingdom, her name a whisper of fear and awe. Picture a vast ocean, its surface glinting under a tropical sun, the air heavy with the tang of salt and the creak of wooden ships swaying in the swell. It's the early 19th century, and Yung Li, known to history as Qingxi, rules as the Queen of the Waves. From 1807 to 1810, a pirate whose fleet of hundreds of junks outmatched empires, her heart as fierce as the storms she navigated. Imagine her standing on the deck of her flagship, her dark hair tied back, her robes billowing in the sea breeze, her eyes scanning the horizon for prey or peril. The deck hums with the shouts of her crew, the clatter of swords and the snap of crimson sails, as merchants and navies alike tremble at her name. Chroniclers of the time, their quills scratching in the dim light of colonial outposts, wrote of a woman who rose from the shadows of a floating brothel to command a pirate confederation. Her reign a tapestry of cunning, courage and scandal. Settle deeper into your blankets. Let the gentle rock of the ocean guide you as we drift into the daring, defiant world of Yung Li, the Queen of the Waves, whose power turned the seas into a legend. Yung Li's story begins not on the water, but in the humid lantern-lit world of Canton's floating brothels, where she, a young woman known then as Shi Yang, worked in the early 1800s, her beauty and wit a beacon in a world of transient desires. Picture her in a cramped cabin, the air thick with the scent of jasmine, perfume and river water, her laughter sharp as she navigates the attentions of sailors and merchants, her mind sharper still, storing every word, every secret. In 1801, she caught the eye of Zheng Yi, a pirate captain whose fleet terrorized the South China Sea, his ambition matched only by his ruthlessness. Imagine their meeting, the deck of a junk swaying gently, the air alive with the smell of tar and salt, as Zheng Yi, his eyes gleaming, offers her not just marriage but a partnership in power. Yung Li accepted, stepping from the brothel to the bridge, her new life a whirlwind of sails and swords. Picture her, now clad in silk, her voice steady as she learns the ways of the sea, her presence calming Zheng Yi's crew, her cunning sharpening his plans. The chroniclers, their pages cautious but intrigued, noted that Yung Li was no mere consort. She was a strategist, her mind as vital to the fleet as its cannons. By 1807, when Zheng Yi died in a storm, his fleet of 400 junks teetered on chaos. But Yung Li, now Qingxi, seized command, her will a tide that held the pirates together. Imagine her standing before a restless crew, the air heavy with the smell of gunpowder and fear, her voice cutting through the wind, declaring herself their leader, her lover-tuned boat sigh, a young captain at her side. The court of the sea, a floating world of junks and cannons, bowed to her, their loyalty forged by her strength and the promise of plunder. Yung Li's reign was a scandal, a woman commanding men in a world ruled by force. Her fleet growing to nearly 1,800 vessels, a confederation that dwarfed the navies of empires. Picture her armada, a forest of crimson sails stretching across the horizon, the water alive with the creak of timbers and the shouts of thousands, their discipline a testament to her rule. The chroniclers, their quills dipping into ink, wrote of her code, a set of laws that bound her pirates tighter than any navies. Imagine her dictating orders, her voice firm, the air warm with the scent of ink and sea spray, as she decrees that disobedience means death, that captured women must be treated with respect or face execution. Her code was no mere formality, it was a scaffold, turning a rabble of pirates into a disciplined force, their junks raiding merchant ships from Vietnam to Macau, their wealth piling high in gold and silk. Picture a captured vessel, its crew trembling, the air thick with the smell of spices and fear, as Yung Li's men, under her orders, spare those who surrender. There lives a currency in her empire. Her fleet was a floating court, its decks a stage where loyalty was tested and betrayal met with swift justice. Imagine a night on her flagship, the stars bright, the air alive with the creak of ropes. As Yung Li dines with her captains, her laughter soft, but her eyes sharp, her lover Chun-Po Tsai at her side, his youth a contrast to her command. The chroniclers, their pages heavy with awe, noted that Yung Li's power was unmatched. Her fleet extorting coastal villages, her name a terror that kept merchants awake. Picture a village, its lanterns dim, the air tense with the smell of smoke and salt, as Yung Li's emissaries demand tribute, their junks looming offshore like dragons. Her scandal was not just her gender, but her success. A woman who outwitted the King Navy, British traders and Portuguese fleets, her junks outmaneuvering their foes with speed and strategy. Imagine a battle at sea, the air thick with the roar of cannons and the tang of gunpowder, as Yung Li's fleet scatters a king armada, her flagship cutting through the waves, her commands clear above the chaos. The chroniclers, their quills trembling, wrote of her victories, her junks capturing ships, her wealth rivaling emperors, her power a scandal that defied the order of empires. But Yung Li's reign was not without peril. The Qing dynasty, desperate to crush her, sent fleets to hunt her, their sails dark against the horizon. Picture her on her deck, the air heavy with the smell of salt and sweat, her eyes scanning the sea, her mind plotting routes through reefs and storms. Her lover, Chun-Po Tsai, now her adopted son to secure his loyalty, fought beside her. Their bond a scandal that fueled whispers among the crew. Imagine them standing together, the wind whipping their robes, their voices calm as they plan another raid, their love a quiet strength in a world of violence. The chroniclers noted Yung Li's cunning, her ability to turn enemies into allies, her bribes and threats keeping coastal governors in line. Picture a meeting with a king official, the air thick with the scent of tea, and tension as Yung Li negotiates protection, her smile disarming, her words sharp as a blade. Her fleet's discipline was her shield, her code ensuring that even captured women could join her ranks or be freed, a mercy rare in a pirate's world. Imagine a young woman, her hands trembling, brought aboard Yung Li's junk, the air soft with the promise of freedom, her life spared by a queen who understood the weight of choice. The court of the sea, though lawless, was ruled by Yung Li's will, her junks a floating empire that mocked the land's kings. Picture her fleet at anchor, the water calm, the air alive with the clink of coins and the laughter of men, as Yung Li counts her spoils, her ledger a testament to her power. By 1810, the Qing dynasty, weary of defeat, offered amnesty, a chance for Yung Li and her pirates to surrender without death. Imagine her standing on her flagship, the air warm with the scent of tar and sea, weighing the offer, her crew watching, their loyalty hers but their future uncertain. Yung Li, ever the strategist, negotiated terms that stunned her foes, retiring with her wealth intact, her fleet disbanded but her legend untarnished. Picture her stepping ashore, her robes simple now, the air soft with the smell of land and freedom, as she settles in Canton, her lover Chun-Po Tsai at her side, their life now quiet but their names eternal. The chroniclers, their pages glowing with respect, wrote of a woman who ruled the seas, her scandal not in her actions but in her existence, a pirate queen who defied empires. Her retirement was no defeat. She ran a gambling house, her cunning undimmed, her wealth a shield against the world. Imagine her, older now, her hair streaked with grey, sitting in a lantern-lit room, the air heavy with the scent of smoke and wine, her laughter soft as she recounts her days on the waves. The South China Sea, once her kingdom, carried her legend, its waves whispering of a woman who turned piracy into power. The chroniclers closed their books on Yung Li, the queen of the waves, their words a mix of awe and wonder, a woman whose heart and mind conquered more than any king's crown. Her legacy lingered in the ports of Canton, the tales of her fleet a lullaby for sailors, her name a storm that never faded. As the gentle rock of the ocean fades, the scent of salt and tar softening into the cool night air, We close video 2 with thanks for drifting with us through these tales of scandal and splendor. If these stories have soothed your night, please like this video, subscribe for more journeys into the past, and share in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. Rest now and join us in future tales, where new courts and new seas await to lull you into another peaceful slumber.